Hey everybody, it's your boy, and today's video will be, of course, about the Elon Musk situation because, well, I think it's something even I have to talk about, and I don't tend to discuss trending topics as much as I used to, so let's get going, shall we? So, a little backstory for those of you who somehow missed this. Elon Musk was teasing, like, a couple of weeks ago that he was going to buy Twitter, and he just asked his fans, like, hey, should I buy Twitter? And of course, naturally, his fans were like, yes, please, please. And so, he did it. I personally thought when I saw the tweet that he wasn't going to do it. Like, it was just one of his many trolling posts on Twitter because the guy likes to troll. He likes to tease things that never happen. And yet, he did. He bought about a 9-point-something% share, which means that he is now the man with the biggest controlling share on Twitter. And that's impressive, to say the least. I mean, I, for one, thought it was just a joke. And of course, it's made people really excited. But of course, I'm going to be one of those people that will tell you to temper your excitement because we don't know what's going to happen, if anything is going to happen. People are waxing lyrical about how he's going to free all the banned people that were ever banned on Twitter for political reasons. Somehow magically be able to convince the Twitter higher-ups and the board that he's on, because I think he's now part of a shareholders board, but that doesn't mean that him alone can get stuff done. Also that Donald Trump will have his account back and Twitter will be back to how it was pre-2014, 2015. A place where we can all shitpost and have a good time. And again, I say temper your excitement and your expectations because we don't know what's going to happen. If Elon Musk is doing this for honest reasons, where he thinks he can make a difference to the site and make it better and make it more of a free speech platform, then good for him. And that gives us a good model in order to do some activism. But on the other hand, if it isn't an honest thing and he's just doing it to buy shares, which he will later sell on further down the line when they increase in value, which I think they already have done anyway, well then, what have we gained? We've gained nothing. So let's talk about the first option, that he does this for honest, freedom-loving political reasons. Now, we all know he's on the right, he's a donor of the Republican Party, and he enjoys a bit of liberty. He loves his guns, he loves his cars, electric cars, which is a bit cooked, but wait, whatever. He loves his cars, loves his guns, loves his weed, loves his freedom. He's doing this because he's sick and tired of seeing people getting banned on Twitter for political reasons and for other bullshit reasons, and he wants to make a difference. That's good. In fact, he's given us a template, something that we can use. Now, of course, not all of us are billionaires like he is, and we can't all expect to buy controlling shares in these companies. But I suggest this. Look at the list of the people who are the majority shareholders in that company. Most of them are not actually people. They're not individuals anyway. They're groups of people, and they're in some kind of company or group or consortium, and they control these certain shares, and they get to decide what's going to happen at Twitter, or at least they have an influence on it. Why don't we form our own consortiums, our own groups, our own companies, and buy shares in all these Silicon Valley companies? There's not a damn thing they can do. They're public companies. You can buy stocks and shares in these companies to such an extent that you can become the dominant voice. But of course, Elon is on his own. He's an individual. He's up against quite a few people. And yes, he might have a veto. He might be able to offer suggestions. But if he fails to get some of his motions passed, that's because it's not his fault. It's because he's on his own, which means more people who have the money, who have the will and the drive, need to get in on this. People who are more like him and me and you, etc., controlling Twitter against the left. This can happen in Google, this can happen in YouTube, this can happen in all the tech companies you can possibly imagine. This is something we should seriously consider. And we can all do it. Even the smallest individual can at least get some kind of stake in it by buying stocks and shares. Even if they're minute, you still have a voice. That's how this thing works. I think there's some potential in this, but it rests on those of us who have the ability and the knowledge and the drive to do this to actually get out there and follow his lead. Because there's some of us who obviously don't have the money, they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the experience to do any of this, and that's fine, You don't have to do that, but for those of you who have no excuse, do it. Because that also means that we're less dependent on these small, upcoming alt-tech companies that, let's be honest, some of them are a bit sus like Rumble, some of them don't work properly like BitChute, And Odyssey, although that has potential, is nowhere near where it needs to be. And also, you've got to bear in mind that these people are up against the Silicon Valley cabal, which means that they will always be in danger of being taken off all these platforms where you can't download their apps, or they could be attacked and destroyed, like what happened to many social media attempts. Like, for example, Parler. Like, who remembers that? That got destroyed by the Silicon Valley cabal. It gives us an influence that we didn't have at the beginning of this culture war. And that's something to consider. Now, what about the second option? He's just doing it for the money. He's a smart guy. He's a smooth operator. He knows how stocks and shares works. In fact, he even has an influence on stocks and shares. And he's just using this to line his own pockets. He isn't really that political. Doesn't really care about freedom. If it is true that he's just doing this for the money, that he's buying these shares so that they raise in astronomical value and then sells them off at a profit, then ultimately we've gained nothing. Twitter will not change, even if he does try anything, which in this situation he won't, and things will actually just get worse. He'll just sit there twiddling his thumbs, playing video games or designing the next electric car, which is state-funded. Oh, did I just say something that I shouldn't have said then? Oh well. And if that is true, then it shows he just rides on the coattails of all these right-wingers, libertarians, anarchists, etc. who follow him, and he's just in it for his own personal gain. I respect the hustle, but I don't respect the person. But who knows? I myself am unsure as to what his motivations actually are. It could well be that he has honest intentions, but I do think, at the same time, he may decide that his work is done at a certain point if he manages to succeed in changing Twitter, which he can't do alone. He can only do so much alone. But if he does succeed, it doesn't surprise me if he sells his stocks anyway. And to be honest, anybody could buy those stocks and we could be back to square one. Hopefully he sells them to particular people to carry on his work, but we don't know. It's going to take a while to see what's going to happen. It's not going to be overnight that Twitter suddenly changes and we're back to how it used to be when it was good. So anyway, I think I'll end it there. Until next time, it's been your boy, and I'll see you all later.